Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hertfordshire Zoo. Now, I have to be honest with you, something has happened to my recording. I'm not 100% sure what, maybe I deleted it. There was an intro version of this, but I'm going to have to do it now. It doesn't matter too much, at least you get the full speed build straight away. Regardless, today's episode we are building an enclosure for the North Brown Kiwi, I think it's called. North Island Brown Kiwi, maybe. Now, I started this idea with, I wanted to do like the thatch sort of walls that come with the Oceania pack. However, I didn't like any of the roofs and I found them quite difficult. So I ended up going with plaster, and my main thought process behind this was I wanted to do, they are nocturnal, these animals, so I wanted to do something that was inside that created a sort of, cave is probably the wrong kind of description for it, but something as if it was underground, but not underground. I guess you probably could call it a cave. Basically, I wanted to do an inside enclosure, and what I quickly realised was that unfortunately, unless you build it underneath terrain, it doesn't actually cancel out a lot of the natural light. The natural light does come through, so that was quite unfortunate. However, I adapted to it, and essentially this is what I come up with. So I built this roof off of the main walls, and I pulled it up so that I could get these poles from the other scenery tab when I eventually found them, and I put these light bulbs on the bottom of them. I turned the light bulbs white, and I essentially just placed a load of these around and made them into a group and copy and pasted them and stuck them at different heights. Again, what I should have done is turned on the light mode, because I had to go to each individual one and turn on all of them, because otherwise they're automatic, and I just wanted them to be on. So my plan here was to do something like kiwis under the stars. It was supposed to look like stars because of the night time and underneath the stars. I think it looked okay. I don't think it looked too bad. I could have done better in some spaces, especially the outside of the actual enclosure itself. I don't think I've done a very good job with that. But the inside I'm okay with. You'll see the inside shortly. However, I am missing when I put in the plants for the actual animals themselves, but that's not too bad. You don't need to see that. You'll see it at the end when I do the camera angles. But I was really trying here to make it darker and darker inside, because it was still quite light. So I ended up building another floor with just black pieces rather than this grey asphalt. So I put in sort of like a separate floor, and it did make it slightly darker, but it still wasn't exact to how I wanted it. And I also had to build it again because I forgot to take it off the roof. So I had the roof, and it was actually really getting to me. I think I actually ended up building this over 2 days, just because of how much it was. Half this stuff was getting to me because it's all very fiddly. I couldn't really think of a better way to do the outside, and I didn't really want to stick a load of stones or rocks or anything like that down, because I've done that already for the cheetahs, I've done that for the lions, for Pride Rock. I just didn't really want to do the same thing again, and I probably could have made this building better if I'd have done the pathing first. Instead, I'd done the pathing second. So I should have done the pathing and built around that, rather than trying to put the pathing into here, because you end up with this big square. I still think it came out looking all right. But you can see here, this is where I'm going through each and every single light bulb just to turn them all on. And I miss a few because camera angles, and it was just an absolute mess. But you can see sort of how dark it is in there, or not. It would have been a lot darker if I'd sort of built it underground or put terrain above it, which again, I wish I would have thought about, but I can't think of a way that if I pulled up this terrain that I could make it look a lot better, because I don't want to just add a load of rocks onto a hill and call it complete. So I don't know, maybe if you've got some thoughts on how I could improve that for a future build, I'm all ears, because I'm interested to learn. That's part of the reason why I put this on YouTube, is so that people can tell me their ideas and I can get better. I do watch other people on YouTube play this game. I mean, their builds are a lot better than mine, a lot better. So it is frustrating when I have this idea in my head and it comes out like, I don't want to say like this, because I don't think this is too bad, but when it comes out like this, if that makes any sense, it didn't come out the way I kind of wanted it to. So yeah, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm learning when I'm playing this game, and I am still only probably about 250 hours in to this, so I still need to learn. I still need to do better with things. Now, when I was doing this path, again, I should have thought about the size of the enclosure. I didn't really want to end up building more roof, but I quite easily could have just added to the roof like 1 or 2 more bars, moved the wall back, and then added in the path as it kind of wanted to. But again, I just didn't think. But at this point I got to somewhere where I was happy enough with the pathing. So I added in this one-way glass and these Oceana logs. Now I've got this horrible way of not building on the grid, so things don't fit properly. So I kind of have to make do with what I've got, and all the shapes and stuff is just off, and the measurements it's just so whack. So I end up putting in these logs again up the top. It's an open air enclosure. Let's go with that, because I wasn't going to put a roof on that either. I then obviously changed the colours of this to make it look as if you're going into something. I don't know, like I could have done a lot better with this, I think, but to have it dark, I couldn't add any windows, I couldn't really add anything other than black. So I don't know, please let me know how I could have done better, or if it's a case of just doing the terrain, then how I can make the terrain better, because I have some ideas for future builds, and it's fairly similar to this, but that's a long way off yet, so I'm not too bothered about that at the moment. Around the pathing area, I didn't want it to look so boring and rubbish, so I ended up adding in some trees, and I put the trees in planters so that it looked a bit more like it would, because you just wouldn't have a tree coming out the floor. I appreciate the fact that I've just said that and then I've added those bushes into the floor, but they're kind of just there for decoration. Whereas a tree, I think you'd notice, they're in little planters at the bottom, those trees. Those bushes even. I then adjusted the pathing again because I wanted it to come slightly higher up, because if you went on to explore mode, you couldn't really see what was in front of you. Now, I have done it. I don't think I recorded it, but I have done it since. I've actually moved all of this section down, including the bushes. So this whole section, including the bushes, has moved down so that the viewing of the kiwi is a lot easier for guests. Although, the last time I checked this enclosure, I think there's been like... I haven't actually seen a guest over here. And I've actually built another enclosure since then, which is coming up obviously next week. So I think I'm going to have to build some shops and things over there. But next week's one is, well, I'm not going to tell you, but it's a lot better. But yeah, and this is my final product.